the silly chatbots and unleash the full potential of your AI agents that is built to scale from day one. Hey there, Pioneer. Are you tired of basic chatbots that just regurgitate information? It's time to level up. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your first vector database and why it's a game changer for building truly intelligent AI agents. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have your own scalable vector database up and running, ready to power up your next generation AI solutions. But before we dive in, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. And understand, by doing so, you're helping support the channel and provide more quality AI education for everyone, so they also can cut through the noise. Now, if you're really serious about selling six-figure AI solutions and not just basic $50 chatbots, lock in the discount for our brand new AI Agent Accelerator program. The link will be in the description. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in. All right, first of all, let's define what is vector database and why do you need this, okay? And I'm also going to tell you a story so that you can understand some of the pitfalls that you can fall into by ignoring the intelligence of your AI assistant or your agent, chatbot, whatever you call it, right? You might have played around with Netflix. What about any search engine, Amazon, right? And you wonder, how does it understand what I want? How does it quickly sort through all the product catalog and get the exact data that I want? Sometimes when you're searching for, let's say, AI videos, okay, you might find names like Liam Otley. Then you might find VR Sen. You might even find my name, Imtiaz, show up in the search results. And you wonder, how does it know that these guys are in the AI space? Well, that's because the data is stored in an unstructured format in a vector dimension space. Don't worry about the technical details now. Essentially, each entity in the catalog, in the database, now each entity is represented by a long list of numbers of vectors, capturing its content, its style, its themes. And when you want to find similar YouTube channels in the account, you can describe it in the search, AI automation, or how to start an AI business, all that kind of stuff. And then that word, that description gets converted into a search vector, right? And then it starts to find which entity this is closest to, right? You could say something different like AI agents, practical, or something like that, or even vector database. You might even see my name pop up. I have a few videos on vector database. Same thing applies for Amazon and Netflix. Like when you're doing searches on Amazon, let's say you want to search for a red shampoo. So there's products in Amazon that are red, but they're not in the description. The title doesn't have the red, or even in the description, but the color of that product is red. So Amazon search algorithm is able to pull this out as well because of the beauty of how the data is stored. And like I said, it's stored as images. And similarly, let's say if you have images of dogs, you know, and then you have an image of cat, and the difference between these images is the vector distance between them. So the vector distance is higher between these images. So when you're actually searching for dogs in the search results, it's going to pull up the most relevant results, which are these results. And because they are closer to each other, they're going to come up and not cat. Okay, so the relevancy is determined by the distance between each of these vectors. And you could even think about something so out of the blue, right? Maybe a giraffe. And now this would be really far, and that might not even show up in the search results. And that's how you get the relevant search results. Okay, so this could apply to Netflix when you're doing movie recommendations, etc. Okay, so it's able to find out what movie somebody like you are watching and then recommending those to you as well. And this is all through the beauty of vector databases, and it unlocks a whole world of opportunities when we're talking about meaning, deriving meaning from the data. And We're going to talk about why this is important for your LM application to have a vector database and to also scale your LM applications. Okay, so as your intelligence grow, we need a secure place to store that intelligence. I get this, all right? I know that vector database is the most valuable asset, but do I really need to worry about it? Absolutely, because you need to think about scaling from day one. And if you understand that data is your most important asset, and that's why you should also understand that's why big companies are already leveraging your data for their gain. Okay, it's time for you to take control and build a long-term strategy for effective data storage and scaling. You might have played around with custom GPT, right? You might have built a cool product, but at the end of the day, for what? You don't have access to the conversations, you don't have access to the database, or you're not able to scale this even further. You can quickly test it. That's great. But you have to think about a long-term strategy where you can use the data to your leverage. And that's how OpenAI or maybe other companies, that's how they grow because they understand what's working, they refine it, they enrich it, and they become more intelligent in the process. I worked as a data scientist. I have a decade of experience, and that's been the most important factor for a lot of big companies is how they can get insights from their data. And I've seen firsthand how proper data management can make or break in your AI project. A good data management will be a big factor when you want to scale your projects. Chatbots to AI agents, that can provide more accurate, relevant responses, that can also scale intelligence, that does not regurgitate information. It also blends, specialized knowledge from the business, from that specialized person, etc., and creates a very unique, refined data set, which is, at the end of the day, the value. Okay. And let me tell you a little quick story so to paint the picture even more. I was working with a coach not so long ago, and that coach, she was very successful and she had a lot of people influential, and she had a specific methodology how she coached her clients, which is great. She's already has a lot of specialized knowledge. Okay, specialized knowledge. And I tried to convince her why the intelligence is the most important piece, but she didn't listen. She went with the crowd. She went and started cloning her voice, started cloning her face and all that kind of stuff, completely ignoring the sauce. Okay, completely ignoring the intelligence. You can clone your voice or your face, whatever, but it's really hard to clone the intelligence. That's why a lot of people get stuck in the short-term phase. It's a great pet project, right? There's a lot of SaaS companies out there, and I think she used one of those SaaS companies, but it was a disaster, right? It doesn't talk like her. It doesn't capture the true essence of her coaching style. And I keep telling everyone, look, everything's gonna come back to the data, to the sauce, and your ability to refine the data and enrich it and unlock the true potential of AI, which is the real value. Now check this out. You have a chatbot, okay? Everybody's really obsessed with the interface, but nobody cares about the back end, right? But everything looks the same essentially. So chatbot, but it's easy to fool most people because you can put lipstick on the chatbot, you can put like a hat on the chatbot, you can put all kinds of fancy ornaments, but it's still going to be a chatbot. At the end of the day, if you ignore the intelligence and only look at the surface level stuff, then you're going to fail to scale your LM applications to a bigger value product. And vector database is a starting point where you can start leveraging all this knowledge and start refining your data, start using the power of AI agents to make it more specialized, and then scale your expertise across your clients or your organization. Now, if you are a business watching this, you also have expertise in your field. You have specialized departments where innovation happens. You have specialized talent in your business. So now you need to look around and find experts who can also work with you to turn that innovation into actual AI agents and not just a chatbot with fancy lipstick on it. You need the sauce. You need to scale the sauce for your business to turn it into more specialized knowledge. This is not the future. This is actually the present. If you take action today, you'll be light years ahead from your competition Who knows? Maybe in a couple of months, who knows? Custom AI agents will set you apart. And if you're ready, drop the chatbots and unleash the full potential of your business. I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can have a chat with our agency. We'll do a free AI readiness consultation. And in the process, we'll learn what are some of your challenges. And if anything, you'll understand the next steps. Okay. All right. So back to the video. Now that you know briefly why it works, why you need it, some of the pitfalls that you could fall into by ignoring it, and how you can scale it for your business, you know all that. Now we need to set up a vector database. Now, assuming this is your first time setting up a vector database, and there is a lot of vendors in the marketplace. Primarily, there's Quadrant and there's Pinecone. OpenAI has its own file search vector database you can use natively with the OpenAI environment. I like to keep my vector databases separate as well for security or whatever purposes, right? So you could choose Pinecone. I'm a little bit skeptical when they say they're the #1 vector database, but both of these vector databases are good for similarity search and machine learning applications, like I mentioned. And when you're deciding between them, you got to look at a couple of things. Okay, so query is important, and what Quadrant does, it offers, filtering process on the payload data alongside the vector search. Pinecone only does vector similarity search. I don't think Pinecone does filtering, but that's why Quadrant is pretty good. Let's say you want to filter out things that are not within the 2 years. You could set a filter like year not equals to this 2 years or whatever the case is. So that is also a very important asset. Deployment is the next piece. All right. So with deployment, Quadrant can be self-hosted or cloud-based. Pinecone is primarily offered as a managed cloud service. You pay for the convenience. You don't have to worry about setting it up or anything. It scales as you go. That's one of the factors. I might make a video on how to host your own Quadrant servers. If you are interested in that kind of content, just comment below. This aspect is also important, scalability. All right, so when we talk about scalability, Quadrant is designed for high scalability. Pinecone is also good, but it's primarily known for its ability to handle large-scale deployment. Of course, you're interested in pricing. Quadrant offers a free self-hosted option. It also gives you a free 1 GB cluster that you can start off with, and we're going to create that in this video so you can see how easy it is to get started. And most of your applications won't require anything more than 1 GB, so it's a great place to quickly play around and understand vector databases. But the pricing can change every now and then, but I encourage you to go to each of the pricing elements and determine if this is the right pricing structure for your application, etc. To get started, we're going to use Quadrant. It has, like I said, a free 1 GB cluster included, no credit card required, easy to sign up. To get started, you're going to create something called a cluster in the overview panel, and cluster is something like a PC or a computer. It's a small mini computer that's in the cloud that is set up for your specific use case. So these are the configuration. It's a very basic cluster, and it could get most of the job done. And then you're going to generate an API key. So I believe it's right here. I already have my API key connected. So make sure you save your API key. Okay, save your API key, and also you'll get an address details. So this is actually your address for your cluster. This is where all the data is stored, kind of like an API call. You're calling that to get your data back. So also make sure you store that URL. Those two things you need for your cluster, and it could be empty. There, doesn't have to be any data stored in it. But let's just imagine if you had some kind of data file, and it could be any data file. In this case, this is a simple product file. It could be a CSV file about customers or orders or whatnot, right? This is a test file. I'll also set up a sample workbook for you that is written in Google Colab. And what it does is basically helps you upload data into that cluster. And you can also send API calls to this database to basically create your data files, all that. But doing it with code is a lot easier. And what I did here is created a workflow that is easy to use. I'm going to give you this data upload workflow for free. It's going to be in the link in the description somewhere. So grab a copy. When you're in, make sure you put in your secrets. In this case, the Quadrant URL and the Quadrant API key. I already have this plugged in, so it's ready and good to go. You're going to go ahead and install the libraries or modules that are needed for this workflow. And the great thing of having these workflows is that you can also put this into your agentic projects because this is all written in code and it's completely agile and scalable. What it's going to do, it's going to help us upload our data file into the vector database easily and effortlessly. So we're going to choose a file, use the CSV file, and the workflow, what it's going to do is it's going to see if there's any kind of issues with the data, if there's any missing values, try to understand the relationships and collection names, all that. And once this is done, it will upload into that cluster. Now we can actually access all the database in the cluster in a UI environment as well. So once this is uploaded, we can actually use the Quadrant UI, plug in our API key. All right. So these are all the data sets that are in the cluster. So all the data sets are called collections. So that's the name they use. And we can actually click on each of these data sets and notice they are stored in rows or elements. If you're familiar with JSON files, that's how they're storing it, but they're calling it points. So every point is like an entity in the data set. And this is essentially a product in this case, right? So we have these products. You can actually see this in a visual representation. I only have 5, so it doesn't make sense to look at all these 5. But as you're clicking on it, you can see which of the products are close and far apart from each other. I'm going to show you an image representation, so it will make a lot more sense when you're looking at images. When you go to datasets, you can actually port some of the pre-made datasets that Quadrant already has. And I use Midjourney styles, which is a collection of Midjourney style samples encoded with clip model. Okay, so you can imagine this for yourself. If you work with a lot of images and you want to find out which images are similar to each other, this is going to be great. So let's try to see this in a graphical representation. So we're going to go back to the Midjourney and notice these are all images that are stored in a database. So we're going to click on Open Graph. This is where things get really exciting, right? Because you can actually now see these images. These are all images, right? They're all different images. And they all seem like they're buildings, right? So let's click on one of them. When I click on one of them, 5 other nodes appear that are very similar to that image that I've clicked. If I click on this one, there's more nodes pop up, stairs, right? Let's look at this one. I want more of these images. Let's click this. And it's going to find similar objects. This looks like passages in the building. And similarly, you can go down different rabbit holes. Just imagine yourself using this in your LM application, using this in your search applications, and imagine yourself unlocking so much potential for yourself as well as your clients through this kind of data formatting, because this has all the meaning you need on the back end, right? One of the future videos, I'm going to also show you how to now use this in your AI applications. Perhaps you're trying to use an assistant to help you categorize images, or an assistant to help you pick an image for a given thing. Let's say you're a fashion designer and you're helping people pick the right outfit. The assistant can help provide the outfit recommendations. A lot of these things can be unlocked with a vector database. And once again, the link to the notebook to upload the files is going to be in the link in the description. It's absolutely free. Go ahead and grab it. And again, you don't need any coding experience here. Everything is coded up for you, so you can get started right now. You are like, hey man, I'm glad I found this information. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop videos like this. And if you have any suggestions of more videos that talks about intelligence and scaling intelligence, put it in the comment below so I can also give you that information. I'm going to put a link in the description. Make sure to watch this video to get more technical details on how vector embeddings work. Like I said, if you're ready, drop the silly chatbots and unleash the full potential of your AI agent. This is MT as your top partner to build, deploy, and sell reliable AI systems.